Good morning, class. How are you all? Hope you are fine. Once again, welcome to Class 12 English. As you know, we are reading chapter number 4, Rat Trap by Selma Lagerlof. Have you read the chapter at home, which we studied in the previous class? I hope you have studied and you have read the chapter. You are doing the reading work at least at home, and you have completed the question answers which I gave in the previous classes. The homework is completed and not facing any doubts. If you are facing any doubts, you are welcome to the doubt class. Today we are going to continue with the same chapter, that is Rat Trap by Selma Lagerlof. We have completed till page number 38, and today we have to start reading page number 39. So before starting the lecture of today's class, I would like to give you a short summary of the chapter, of the pages which we studied in the previous class. So this chapter is all about a rat trap paddler who was a poor person, who used to sell rat traps and used to do so many other works like bagging, thievery, and he thought that the whole world was a rat trap, and human beings are the rats, and the things offered to them like food, warm clothes, they all were the baits, temptations, and all the human beings either were caught in that trap or circling around the trap to be caught. And this thinking made him, I can say, happy a lot. And it used to give him unwanted joy to think ill about the others, because the world never was good with him. This much happened, and then he himself was caught in the trap by stealing 30 kroners from an old crofter. Then, when he was just going to come out of that trap, and another trap was welcoming him. When he was in the forge to spend the cold night, lying in front of the furnace, an iron master just came to that forge and took him as his old friend. He wanted him to come to his house and spend the Christmas Eve. But our paddler was quite aware. He didn't want to throw himself in front of the lion's den, so he just denied. But the ironmaster was not such a man who could give up easily. He sent his own daughter, Adela Wilmanson, who was quite persuasive in nature, who has more powers of persuasion than him. So she came and she convinced our old paddler that nothing would be happen to him. It was his choice to leave the house anytime, whenever he wished. So his words really convinced the rat trap paddler, who was earlier not willing to go to the ironmaster's house because he was quite aware of himself. He did not want to be caught in the trap again. But he went with that lady. So he was there now, and the next morning he was there. She brought him in the night, and there was a next morning. The next morning, when the girl was laying the dining table, his father was sitting there, and he asked his daughter that it was very important to feed that man properly because he was malnourished. And he wanted a job for him where could he earn enough money to keep his body and soul together. This was done. Till here we have read. The last para was that only, which I have just explained. So page number 39. Book Flamingo, chapter number 4, The Rat Trap by Selma Lagerlof. So I am just starting reading. So please be concentrated. It is queer that things have gone downhill with him as badly as that, said the daughter. Last night I did not think there was anything about him to show that he had once been an educated man. Now when the daughter's father asked her to have a look on that person to feed him properly, she replied to her father, it is queer. Queer means strange. It was very strange that he was quite unfortunate that days, and the things have gone downhill to him, means his days were not good. He was not able to earn properly, and he was living in a very pathetic condition, wearing rags. She added further, she was not over yet, she added further that last night when she met him, when she went to meet him to bring him to her house, she was not able to see that he was an educated man earlier. She commented that there was nothing with him that could show that that man was an educated person once because of his bad condition. If you remember, this girl had doubt about that man's personality. Remember? When she went to meet that man, when she woke that man up when he was sleeping, he just was frightened totally. There was some fear in his eyes. So this made our lady think that either he escaped from the jail or he had done something wrong. Right? So that's why maybe that was the reason she wanted to tell these lines to father, or something else was going on in her brain. Let's see. You must have patience, my little girl, said the father. Father asked her to have patience. Why? As soon as he gets clean and dressed up, you will see something different. His father was just convincing his daughter that he was not clean last night. He was not dressed properly last night. He was wearing only rags and very dirty, untidy, long beard, dirty hair, tangled ones. That's why you were not able to recognize him as an educated man. But last night, he was naturally embarrassed. And he added further that last night he looked so poor. That's why he was very much embarrassed. It was a natural thing. Because of his attire, his way, the tramp manners will fall away from him with the tramp clothes. And he said that he just asked his daughter that when his clothes, those rags would be removed, taken off from his body, then all the manners which were of tramp, as he behaved last night, all would fall away with the clothes. It is, in reality, clothes are very important. It defines your personality. And when we wear, like if we are wearing suit, we behave like that. If we are wearing a sports dress, attire, we behave like that. it comes in us automatically. It changes our personality. It changes our manners and behaviors. Maybe the landlord, the manor was hoping the same. Because of those clothes, he was not able to show his real thing. But with the change of clothes, maybe he was changed. Let's see what happened next. Just as he said this, the door opened, and the stranger entered. Yes, now he was truly clean and well dressed. Yeah, as the landlord was saying, the morning he was completely different. He was truly cleaned and well dressed. The valet had bathed him, cut his hair, and shaved him. The personal attendant who was given to him, who had that fur coat in his hand last night, he just bathed him. He cut his hair, shaved him, means completely groomed him from a tramp to a gentleman. Moreover, he was dressed in a good-looking suit of clothes. And now he was wearing a good suit which was given to him, which belonged to the ironmaster. And that suit was of ironmaster. He wore a white shirt and a starched collar and whole shoes. And he was wearing a very good uniform attire, a white shirt with the collars. Those were starched one, kadakdar collar, and whole shoes, full length shoes he was wearing. Completely a gentleman, converted, transformed one. But although his guest was now so well groomed, the ironmaster did not seem pleased. Why so? That tramp, the guest which was brought by the lady at home last night, he was well groomed, completely transformed. He was not any more dirty, not wearing rags anymore, but still, the ironmaster was not happy after seeing him. What was the reason? I know you know the reason. He looked at him with puckered brow, and it was easy to understand that when he had seen the strange fellow in the uncertain reflection from the furnace, he might have had a mistake. But that now, when he stood there in broad daylight, it was impossible to mistake him for an old acquaintance. Yes, he looked at him carefully. Puckered brow. Puckered brow means like this. Eyebrows up. With doubt, with suspicion. He looked at him with doubt, with suspicion. Something was wrong. What was wrong? Let's see. It was easy to understand, right? He met to that person in the night. He was an strange fellow. He was not his old acquaintance. And because of the reflection which was coming from the furnace falling on his face, the ironmaster have made a mistake. What mistake? Let's see. Last night he made a mistake, but it is morning today, the broad daylight, and he was able to see his face properly. Right? And now in the day when he was the stranger, the Rattrap paddler, when he was standing in front of him in the broad daylight, now it was impossible. He could not commit any mistake. It was clear to him that he was not his old acquaintance. He has brought somebody and a stranger to his home. What does this mean? He thundered. He shouted. He wanted to know the meaning. what happened? The stranger made no attempt to dissimulate. He saw at once that the splendor had come to an end. Dissimulate means pretend. The stranger did not try to pretend anything, to show off anything. He knew he was God. And the splendor. Splendor means shan or shaukat. Good days, अच्छे दिन, were over. Now his good days were over. It's not my fault, sir, he said. I never pretended to be anything but a poor trader. And I played it and begged to be allowed to stay in the forge. But no harm has been done. At worst, I can put on my rags again and go away. The stranger, he did not pretend to be anything else. He simply said, Sir, that it was not his fault. He did not say to the ironmaster that he was his old friend. It was the ironmaster who committed the mistake. So he was right here. It was not his fault. Then he added further, he never pretended to show anything else. He was a poor trader. He told him. He played it. He requested to the ironmaster and begged him to let him stay in the forge. He did not want to come. It was only ironmaster who was forcing him to come to the house. But do you think it was the honest answer? He was as honest. I know he did not tell the lie, but he did not tell the complete truth. It was also a crime. But then he added further, it was no harm, nothing was wrong. He did not harm anybody, he did not steal anything, so it was no harm. And he was ready to put on his rags again, to put on his old clothes again, and he could go. He simply said, to prove himself right, he just spoke these lines. I hope you are clear. Well, said the ironmaster, hesitating a little, it was not quite honest either. You must admit that. I should not be surprised if the sheriff would like to have something to say in the matter. And master said, well, agreed. He hesitated a little. And he added further that he was not quite honest, and he should admit that because he was not quite honest. He was also somewhere wrong. He had to be honest. He should have cleared everything in the last night only, but he did not. And now he told our peddler that he should call the sheriff. Sheriff means police. He wanted to call the police now because it was a wrong thing. The tramp took a step forward and struck the table with his fist. The tramp did not like this. He came forward and struck the table with his fist. Now I am going to tell you, Mr. Ironmaster, how things are. He said, this whole world is nothing but a big rat trap. All the good things that I offer to you are nothing but cheese rings and bits of pork, set out to drag a poor fellow into trouble. And if the sheriff comes now and locks me up for this, then you, Mr. Ironmaster, must remember that a day may come when you yourself may want to get a big piece of pork, and then you will get caught in the trap. He spoke something. He spoke his own idea, his own philosophy about the world to the ironmaster. What he said? He wanted to tell something. He started speaking about the things that the whole world was nothing but a rat trap, and all the good things which are offered to you, you means the ironmaster, they are nothing but cheese rinds and bits of pork. Cheese, you know cheese very well. Rinds means slices of cheese, and bits of pork means pieces of pork. Pork is a sort of meat. These all things are offered you like as these things are offered to a rat to drag a poor fellow, to drag a person, to drag human beings. These are temptations, and these just drag the human beings into trouble. He was saying this. And it was his turn. He was caught in this trap by being tempted. Mr. Ironmaster, he added further, that he must remember one day may be there. Then the Ironmaster himself wanted to get a big piece of pork. He was a poor person. He was a poor rat trap paddler. He was caught in a very small temptation. He got greedy for a very small temptation, just 30 kronas. Ironmaster was a big rat, very rich person. He would not be tempted with that small amount of money. So he was saying that when you yourself may want to get a big piece of pork, it may happen that in front of him, in front of the ironmaster, there would be a very, very big piece of pork, a very big temptation, and that day the ironmaster himself would be caught in the trap, because every individual who is in the world has to be caught in the trap. Understand? So he was just warning that it was his day, he was caught, one day will be of him, and he would be caught in the trap. Nobody will be saved from the rat trap. He just warned him. He just explained his philosophy to the ironmaster. I hope it is clear. The ironmaster began to laugh. He took that line lightly. He laughed at his philosophy. That was not so badly said, my good fellow. Perhaps we should let the sheriff alone on Christmas Eve. But now get out of here as fast as you can. Ironmaster really appreciated him. He said it was not so badly said. He was laughing now. And he added further that he was not going to call the sheriff. He wanted nothing to happen to you. But he wanted that paddler to move from there as fast as he could. He did not want him to stay anymore there. But just as the man was opening the door, the daughter said, I think he ought to stay with us today. I don't want him to go. And with that, she went and closed the door. As he was about to go, open the door, the daughter, remember the daughter? What was her name? Adela Wilmanson. She just interrupted. She said that she thought that rat trap paddler ought to stay with them that day. She didn't want him to go. Why? Why she was standing against of his her father why she was taking favor of that man. It could be a question in your exam. And with that, she did something unusual. She just closed the door. Why so? A question for you. We will get the answer in the next paragraph. Father didn't like this. He just said, "What in the world are you doing?" Why she was behaving like that and what she wanted to do. Father wanted to know. The daughter stood there, quite embarrassed, and hardly knew what to answer. The daughter was standing there, quite embarrassed. She was embarrassed enough, a lot. And she didn't know what to say, what to answer. Because she herself didn't know why she had done that. What was the reason? Anybody knows who is in the class? I hope you are more intelligent than the daughter and the father. Try to think the answer and tell yourself. I'm listening. So let's see. The morning, she didn't know what to answer. That morning, she had felt so happy when she thought how homelike and Christmassy she was going to make things for the poor, hungry wretch. Wretch means unfortunate, unlucky person. She could not get away from the idea all at once. That's why she had interceded for the vagabond. In this para, you are going to get the answer. Why did she do that? You can mark the para, important one. Now, listen to the answer from the next line, second line. That morning, she had felt so happy. She was very much happy. Why? When she just thought a single thing, that she was going to make, she and her father, they were going to make the Christmas home-like and Christmassy. They would make that day home-like and Christmassy for that stranger. Because he was a poor person, he would not have spent such a grand day in his life, maybe. So they wanted to make him feel like home. She wanted to make him feel like home. She wanted to make him enjoy the day, be happy for that day. Because he was a poor, hungry, unlucky person. She wanted to make that day wonderful for him. And when his father asked him to go, she was not able to leave that idea. She was not able to get away from that idea which came in her brains in the morning when she was very happy about, about helping that man, that poor man. Right? And that was the reason she interceded for the vagabond. She interrupted for the vagabond. I hope the answer is clear. You have marked the answer, understood everything? Clear? I am thinking, she did not say this to the father. She was just thinking about this thing. I am thinking of this stranger here, said the young girl. He walks and walks the whole year long, and there is probably not a single place in the whole country where he is welcome and can feel at home. Wherever he turns, he is chased away. Always, he is afraid of being arrested and cross-examined. I should like to have him enjoy a day of peace with us here. Just one in the whole year. Now what she said to her father? That she was thinking of the stranger there. That's why she closed the door. She was behaving like that. Now she added further that this man, this poor fellow, walked and walked the whole year long. He just roamed here and there. He had no place to live, no place to rest. He just roamed all over the world. And there was not a single place in the whole country where this poor man was welcomed by anybody. He had the powers of persuasion. So she was just, not sorry, she had the powers of persuasion. Now she was just persuading her father that in the whole world he was never welcome. He was always thrown away from the houses. He could not feel at home anywhere. And wherever he turns, wherever he went, he was always turned away. Turned away as her father was turning him away. She should like to have him enjoy a day of peace with them there. And she just wanted him to enjoy at least a single day where he could find peace. He would be very happy, just one in the whole year. Right? I hope this much is clear to you. Everything is understood. Everything is clear to you. So I just want you to read the chapter, whatever is taught today, and we are going to continue with this chapter in the next class. It's a humble request to you, read it. With this, I would like to wind up. That's all of my side. Thank you for listening to me.